Kelly would know that song. All right. Good to see you guys, girls.
Good to see you, Coach.
I appreciate that. No, man, first day is always the best day, right? Everybody's got a chance. Everybody's out there fresh. Everybody's good. Everybody's all excited. Football is too. Football players are. Jerk. No, I appreciate you guys all coming out again. Good to see you guys. Really, first practice of the 26th season. So appreciate you guys staying out and watching a little bit today and getting, as much as anything, I want you guys to be able to get a feel for the numbers guys are wearing. Me too. I still don't know. I need like a roster out there to see what numbers. These guys change numbers, even the guys that have been here. So. I want to make sure you guys have a chance to get a feel for the guys that you're going to be reporting on all year too. I think that's important because it's about them. It's not about us. It's about those guys and what they do. So no different than you guys heard me talk about identity of a team, and seasons aren't momentum or lack of momentum, good, bad, ugly, whatever, doesn't carry over year to year, and it's up to it's up to myself really as the head coach to push what we want the identity to be of this team, right? And it's up to the players each year to be able to go out and establish that. So it doesn't carry over. The guys that were here, including myself, starting with myself, not happy with the way the season ended last year. Matter of fact, extremely still pissed off about the way the season ended last year. If you don't think that's been at the forefront of everything out of my mouth for the last 2.5 months, you're crazy, right? It has. It has been in building the staff, has been building this roster. The way we're constructing the roster, the way we've put together the staff, and the way we're going about attacking every day to go be the best versions of ourselves each day. So, I know what I want this team's identity to be. That starts with what really our 4 core values are. The toughness, the discipline, commitment, and execution that we talk about all the time. All right, but I'll be damned if I sit out there again and watch on 3rd and 1. All right, or 1st and goal on the 5, not be able to convert a first down or get the ball in the end zone, boys. I'm just serious. All right, so not being able to stop the run. All right, the core characteristics, what I identify a tough physical football team as. All right, we did not accomplish that, in my opinion, last season. All right, and that is the mission for the 26th football season. All right, with that, let's go questions.
Can you talk a little bit about bringing Godsey back and Jason, 2 guys that you've been in the foxhole with, so to speak?
Yeah, I think you said it. You said it right there. Guys I know, guys I have experience with, guys I trust. All right, trust is a huge word. Being able to trust the guys on the field playing, be able to trust the staff that you have, that's big. Those guys have experience, a lot of years of calling it, a lot of years of putting it together, a lot of years of managing, organizing, and putting together staffs. And I've been really pleased up to this point. Obviously we don't have pad zones first day of practice, but the way they manage, Big Mally. I've been really pleased with those guys. They've both brought things to the program I think that are going to be beneficial for us. Whether it be the organization of the support staff that George brought along, some of the identity, some of the talking points and things that Boogie has that have allowed him to be successful. Cohesiveness, coming together, understanding what complementary football is and when it is taking place and when it isn't taking place. So I've been thoroughly pleased to this point. So let's hope that continues that way. And not to mention, me and Boogie been through some stuff together now. If you guys remember that when I walked out of President Cabrera's office back in 2022 after being told I was the interim head coach, that's the first person I went to go see. We sat down for 3 hours now and put together a plan to put holes in the dam with our special teams. And that man means the world to me. And then you look at George. George's my best man at my wedding. So, not to mention I hosted him on his official visit, and he still came here. So, we were in the foxholes together. Might be the only, 2 of probably only 3 or 4 guys I think that, not only went here, played here, and then went on and spent the next greater part of a decade with George O'Leary. So, needless to say, we think a lot alike in a lot of ways. So just need to get Marty up here now, and we'll be good. All right.
Next.
You already espouse toughness and running the ball and those sorts of things. How, given the way the season ended and what you were talking about, do you even more emphasize that's going to be a priority in the way you put together the staff and the roster?
Yeah, we just exactly, again, like you said, how you construct the staff, how you construct the roster, to be able to do those things. Not that they have not been emphasized. I think anybody that's been to practice in the last 3 years knows, the emphasis of it. All right, but what's the mentality? All right, what's the mentality of putting it together Sunday through Thursday? Putting it together Sunday through Thursday. All right, what are you presenting? What are you leading with? All right, some of the new quarterbacks, they come up, hey, can we get some of the passing game installed? I think George looked at him and said, do you know the man upstairs? Like, do you know Coach Key? All right, we're going to do a lot of things, but sit there and do progression, 7-step drops on first down is probably not going to be one of them. So it's a mentality you lead with. It's a mentality of how you put it together. It's what I want this team to be, really to be at the forefront of this football team. Right, is the line of scrimmage. Look, line of scrimmage is not just the big guys. Line of scrimmage is sideline to sideline. The receivers involved, tight ends are involved, running backs block on the perimeter, and now in the DBs being able to disengage off blocks, get off, keep leverage on the football, make plays, and keep the ball, funneled to the pursuit. Those are all things we got to improve on. But roster-wise, we had to get bigger. We had to get bigger, right? And I think you guys will see, looking at the team, we've accomplished that, to some degree. We had to improve our, we had to improve a lot of areas on the defensive front. I think we've made progress towards doing that. Same with the offensive line. There's, again, stats are all cool and everything, but when it comes down to it, what's really happening when games matter, when games are on the line, when you're playing situational football. And we've made a very concerted effort in how we've built the roster for that reason.
Over here, Alex and then Jarvis.
Coach, this is the first year in, I think, 2 or 3 years you've had a true quarterback competition going into spring. Just talk about the group that you've got to choose from. Kind of how confident are you in all those, and kind of making that decision? Do you want to have a good idea coming out of fall, or out of spring camp, or going into
I hope
into
out of
fall?
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and live in a hypothetical world and say we're going to name somebody, practice 5 or after practice 15. But the sooner you can establish who the leader of your football team is, that is the most important position in all professional sports, in all sports, at every level. So the sooner you can come out and hit your ride to them, I think the better. The quarterback room is going to be a competitive room. Each one of them brings something different to the table. Graham's been out and had experience. He's continuing to grow, mature, and learn the game. Grady, who was with us last year, has had a really good offseason, from a work ethic standpoint, from a leadership standpoint. Been really pleased with Cole coming in as a true freshman. Like any true freshman quarterback, it's a lot for him to grasp right now. Ben Guthrie's just been so solid for us as a guy that came in 4 years ago and done so much for the program. I don't know if he's going to decide to be a coach one day, but I told Brody the other day, I said, Brody, you got some, if he makes that decision, you got some pressure on you now. So and then Berto coming in is again, coming from a championship team, watching the guy in front of him, seeing how he performed and carried himself and worked throughout last season. He comes in and he's the first one in the building every morning. He goes to class, and then he's back in the building. He's gonna be the last one to leave. That's Saturday, Sunday. He's here all day. Just the ultimate ball junkie, and that's what you want, that position. It's what you have to. It's what you have to have if you're going to be successful.
Coach, you talking about having the ability to be able to stop the run. How important for with all the new faces coming in at the defensive tackle and defensive end spot? How is it important for those guys to really establish themselves in the spring so you can be able to do that?
Yeah, I've never seen a team be able to stop the run without D linemen. So I think we were pretty good proof of that last year. And we had some players that made some good plays for us. Last year we did. That depth goes quickly. especially when you want to play a bunch of guys. I think Jess is, just some of the tweaks we've made, schematically. A lot of things we've simplified, big time on the defensive side of the football, so those guys can play and play fundamental football. Look, all schemes are player driven. Right? I say that a lot, right? But to really understand that as a coordinator or a coach on that side of the football, that's what becomes really important, and that's where that trust factor comes in for me, of those guys getting it. I mean, we might put in, 2 to 3 base calls all spring on defense, right, and get really good at them. I mean, there's gonna be days I'm gonna say, hey, look, you got one call on defense. Offense, you got whatever. Flip around the other way, defense, you got whatever you want to call. Offense, you're in all drop back protection today. All right, we got to get fundamentally better. We have to improve our techniques. We have to improve our understanding of the game. And look, this is going on all over the country. I mean, there's nobody in the country right now that's returning, 18, 20 starters, like happen, used to be 20, 30, 40%, whatever. I don't know what the numbers are of the country would do that. That's very, very rare to see that now. So that, you're on equal footing with everyone else when it comes to the replenishing and reloading of your roster. All right, but I said this earlier. A lot of people are out there and trying to look at other programs and try to copy what they do or that. And look, every program is who they are because that's who they are. All right, I'm very comfortable with who we are as a program. All right, overall is our program. What I want our identity to be. What our identity as a staff is. Okay. And it's not about going out and looking at other people and trying to copy what other people do. It's about being the best version of ourselves as a football program. All right, and what are those tweaks each year we have to do? Because I know what the plan has to be. I know the plan is right. We've shown improvement, but we're still not anywhere close to where we need to be and where I want to be.
Coach, obviously new staff, new group coming in. Just, I know you don't have everybody, but what are you most excited about just with this new group as you prepare just to embark on the year?
Staff-wise or player-wise?
Player-wise.
Size. I think today was a telling sign. We're in underwear out there running around, and we had 3 competitive team periods. It was just spider zone, but I bet I didn't see 2 or 3 guys on the ground. Looking at evaluating of big men, especially when you're looking to increase your size. That's something, to me, the number one quality when you're increasing the size of your roster is is their balance and body control. They have the ability to play with the base, stay off the ground. And you got guys out there who in years past, we'd have guys on the ground, and especially when you get some of the new guys, the freshmen. We got some freshman offensive linemen out there, some freshmen and redshirt freshmen that they don't look like freshmen at all. I mean, those twins are they are, and look, they're not just big guys. I mean, those guys are not on the ground. They play with a base. They can bend their knees. Getting Xavier Canales back after sitting out last year, so he's really like a freshman because he didn't really get any reps last year. And then the addition of some of the guys we brought in. So, and look, we got 3, 4 guys starting off competing for starting offensive linemen that are Markel's banged up, he'll be out for a couple practices, and then we got a couple guys who won't practice for the spring, Josh and Ethan, but I'm excited about the big men we've brought in and we've been developing in this program. But that's what we have to do. That was another thing I was disappointed in last year, going back and after the season, really self-scouting the whole year. I don't think we did a good job of developing our players early and putting them in a position to be able to play early in the season. Right? I'm a believer in you play guys first 3, 4, 5 games. They're going to be, if they're talented, they're going to be better, better versions of themselves. They're going to be better players when you get to later on. We shouldn't have waited, and that's on me. I'm the head coach, right? But we shouldn't have waited to the Georgia game to play Phoenix Veld. Right? So we got to do a better job of developing guys 2 months ago, every single day. That's some of the things I think the new guys on the staff have really brought in. They've had experience developing players. Some of the things George has brought from the NFL in that mindset. Especially in a free agent market that we're in now in college football, to bring experience from that level in of how they develop guys quickly in their system. Those have all been things that have been added bonuses that we've been looking to accelerate the development of our players. You look at Christian Garrett out there today. I mean, Christian had some production early in the season, and kind of tailed off a little bit. And didn't play as much until I think the last game. And look, it's not all. I mean, it's on the players too now. It's not just it's not. I'm not saying it's the coach. I'm saying it's everybody. It's everybody that walks through these doors. We've got to put a better effort into developing that, and that's the mindset we put in the guys. We took everything that we normally start in June, all the leadership, character building, mindset stuff that we normally start June 1, we moved every bit of that up, and AP started all of that in January this year. All right, so we moved everything up 6 months, all right, this year. So I think we've got a lot more cohesive football team right now. And another big thing that's not talked about a lot is this is the football team we're going to have for the 26th season. There is no portal in the spring, all right? And yeah, every coach will say, man, this is so great to coach them, but look at it from a player standpoint. There's no, maybe I'll jump ship. Maybe there's this. There is none of that. So you have full, complete buy-in on the football team right now, right? And you have to have that to have a successful season.
Reggie, and then we'll come back over here to Luke, and then we'll come back to
Obviously, Coach, no Haynes King out there, which was a little weird for us watching.
It was out there.
Was it? My point is, but I'm curious, without him on this roster, how does it kind of change how you guys kind of attack offense,
we have
stuff
no
like
Keelan
that?
Rutledge, and we have no J.J. Vandenberg, we have no Amari
Yeah.
Harvey, no CP, Omar. I mean, there's a lot of guys we don't have. That's football. Be where your feet are. You can't worry about the pass. You can't worry about those things. All right. I think it's going to be a little bit of a benefit for us because, something that really occurred over the last 3 years, Haynes was such an alpha, not just on the field playing, but a personality everywhere. Such an unbelievable leader that a lot of guys felt, well, maybe I don't have to lead. We have our leader. That's the guy we look at. All right. Well, it can almost be a double-edged sword there for you. So now having to go back, and last year, I think you guys remember, we built the leadership group out of the seniors, right? Well, now you don't have guys that have been on leadership starting this year. So after 2 months of watching these guys, we put leadership together. All right, these are all new guys on leadership. There's not continuity from last season in the leadership of this football team, and that was for a specific reason. Because like I said to start, every season is a new season, okay? And the leadership is made up of, we have 11 guys. 11 guys. There's one specialist, and I think it's 5 and 5, or 6 and 5. Maybe it's 12 or something. And it's a mix of guys that have been here, a mix of guys that have transferred in. It's 6'5", 5'6", and you're pretty even across the board there.
Luke.
Thanks, man.
Brent, can you take us into the process of how Alberto got here, that whole process in the offseason, and then
Fast. National championship game was on a Monday, and you go into that thing, and he gets in the portal after the game and made contact, and we were first off, and we closed it up there.
what was it about him? A guy that would play a little bit of limited spots last year, given the situation he was in. What was it that you saw in him that would make him a good fit for this program?
I think if you look at the play he did have on the field and what he was able to do, it really fit where I want to take the offense, where I want to take the team. The way he throws, what he's good at throwing, ability to evade a rush, make plays with his feet. Right, we're not going to sit here and be a designed quarterback run team. Right, Haynes King, like I just said, he's an alpha dude now. Right, he's different. Midway through the third quarter, you're playing Clemson. He walks up and says, "Put the ball in my hand so we can go win the game." A lot more colorful than that. Right, you believe in that guy. Okay, and again, all schemes are personnel driven.
And then off that too, going back to what Haja had said, obviously, 19 incoming transfers.
Is it 19?
It was 19. Yeah.
Really?
So 19 guys in the portal, or that came in via the portal, and then a lot of new pieces on the staff. What is the challenge then for you, or even if it is a challenge, how does that impact you and your growth as a head coach?
I love it. It's awesome. It's fresh ideas, it's fresh faces. It creates newness. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like the last 2.5 months weren't hard. They were hard, right? But then when you come out on the backside of it, we've got a couple pieces that we're adding. I think we brought so far 6 or 7 new guys in the recruiting department. We got 4 or 5 more to go there. But we're taking our time with it. I've taken my time with putting the whole staff together because it's about the right fit. It's about the right fit for here. It's about the right fit for this team, right? Not anybody else. And I'll leave it with this, and you'd lot rather hit that hard reset after a good year than after a a really poor year.
Sam?
Yeah, Coach, I got a quick question I want to ask you.
Guardian caps.
Yeah. Yes. Just your thoughts about how it has improved over the year. Or just your thoughts about that.
So everything that we do from a player health and safety standpoint is driven from the training room and the doctors. Okay, and if it comes into equipment, then obviously we involve the equipment staff. I ain't real smart, all right? I got smart people around me, but everything we do is how to increase player availability and player safety. Okay, and you can go through and look at different studies that say this and that, and when you dig in a little deeper and see who's driving those studies, right? Okay, but at the end of the day, the National Football League, right, is in my opinion the greatest sports organization in the world. Right? People can disagree. I don't really care. Okay, they wear 'em. Okay, that's about all the scientific research I need. All right, if you prevent one concussion because you're doing it, then it's worth whatever dollar you have to pay for it. All right, I'm all for them if they make the players feel more comfortable. I know it makes me feel more comfortable. Now, it takes a little bit getting used to the sound of practice, because 2 years ago when we first started wearing those things, it's like it doesn't sound like practice sounds, So you got to get used to that a little bit as a coach. But like I said, if it prevents one thing from head trauma or head injury, then it's well worth it. But in my personal opinion, I believe, and again, the data backs it up out of the training room, right? It's prevented a lot more than just one.
Coach, you mentioned Josh and Ethan. Any other players to update in terms of just injury health-wise?
Yeah, I honestly can't. If this was Thursday before a game, I'd have a list with me. But I don't want to say one and not say another. Obviously Josh and Ethan, we said Markel. We got several guys that are. Shamik's another one that's coming back from, and that's what this time is. Like, we got guys. They play through the season. They play through different things. And then you get them operated on after the season, right? We're seeing such an uptick right now in not just here, but all across every level of football. AC, shoulders, ACs, rotator cuff, all those things. And that's a 4 to 6 month deal. So when you get it done after the season, you get them back full go for the next season, for summer training and whatnot. Hey, speak of the devil, JJ walking in. But JJ made me lose train of. So getting those guys back is important. We a couple guys we brought in with shoulders. Who was another one? Was it Braden Manley's another one we did after the season. EJ's another one we did after the season. Jonas we brought in as a transfer, who's coming back. But ACs are such a you hate to say it, but have become such a common thing now. And the surgeries have become so good on them. And they're tight, they're good, they're sound. In 4 to 6 months, you're going to get a guy back better than he was prior. So, and then a few guys that came in with, things from playing in the previous, their previous stops. But, there's really, there's 3 or 4 things that really everyone is, seeing upticks in. And, I think everybody does the deep dives to see how to help them, help prevent them and do those things. And that's what, Brad does such a great job in the training room with his staff, Mike, who's in charge of all our PT, and then working hand in hand with AJ and the strength staff, all right, Aaron in nutrition, and then really coming all back into the building and to this side with Pat Boyle, with the analytical part of it, able to put all that together, all right, to really, help prevent those things, and when they do occur, to get them back as quick as possible, but in a safe way.
We'll wrap up right back here.
Coach, the level of intensity you'd like to coach with, what are you seeing with the team? How is that message resonating with this year's team?
They love it. They like it. I mean, and I've got some good guys on this team that, we had a training session a couple weeks ago, and we did a walkthrough, and we did a whole, session of drills and work and 8 stations, 4 stations, and we're running curves. And if you know what a curve is from your old playing days, those aren't any fun. And we get about the 7th one, and they're just laughing, they're smiling. I'm like, right? And one guy takes their shirt off, the whole team takes their shirt off. Just some buy-in, little things you see like that, right? I've had a couple guys come up and say, the last 2 months have been the best better than the last 2 years they had at another school. Right? Those are all really positive things, especially when you coach the way we coach, the way I believe in running a program. There's no shortcuts, and you got to have a special type of guy that wants that wants to be coached hard, that wants to be held to a certain standard, right? But those are also the guys that excel in this game.
All right. Thank you.
That's it. All right. Appreciate y'all. Go Jackets.
Thanks, Coach.